India News Hour, India's voice to the world. I'm Preeti Kaur. Coming up in the next 1 hour, Donald Trump defeats Nikki Haley in South Carolina's Republican contest, extending his winning streak as he marches towards a third consecutive presidential nomination. US British forces carry out fresh strikes against Houthi targets in Yemen. Houthis target US ship in Gulf of Aden. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi will share his thoughts with the people of the country and abroad in Mann Ki Baat program at 11 a.m. It will be the 110th episode of the monthly radio program. England eye lead in the Ranchi test against India. Spinner Bashir's 4 for 83 gives Three Lions a golden opportunity to take control of the fourth test match. Former U.S. President Donald Trump easily defeated Nikki Haley in South Carolina's Republican contest on Saturday. The former president had been widely favored to win the southern state despite his litany of criminal charges. Trump's first criminal trial is scheduled to begin on March 25th in New York City. He is charged in that case with falsifying business records to conceal hush money payments made to porn star Stormy Daniels. He faces 3 other sets of charges, including a federal indictment for conspiring to reverse Biden's victory in 2020. Trump has pleaded not guilty in every case and claimed with no evidence that the charges stem from a Democratic conspiracy to derail his campaign. This has extended his winning streak as he marches towards a third consecutive presidential nomination and a rematch with Democratic President Joe Biden. Trump has now dominated all the 5 contests so far in Iowa, New Hampshire, Nevada, the U.S. Virgin Islands, and now Haley's home state, leaving Haley with no evident path to the Republican nomination. Trump gave his victory speech in Columbia, the state capital, just minutes after the polls closed.
We ran 2 great races, but there's never been, there's never been a spirit like this. And I just want to say that I have never seen the Republican Party so unified as it is right now. Never been like that. America first. We're putting America first. First of all, my family. Right now, we're a laughing stock all over the world. Our country is going to be respected again, respected like never before.
This loss for Haley is personal as she won 2 terms as the governor from South Carolina. But Haley appeared to have outperformed expectations based on opinion polls and again insisted that she would fight on.
The younger generation, my children's generation, knows it better than anyone. They deserve better. They deserve leadership. And so I will keep fighting for them and for you and for all of America. Today is not the end of our story. We'll keep fighting for America, and we won't rest until America wins.
Republican candidate nomination race will now move to Super Tuesday on March 5th, when Republicans in 15 states and 1 U.S. territory will cast ballots. U.S. President Joe Biden and First Lady Jill Biden welcomed the nation's governors on Saturday for a black-tie dinner at the White House. Biden addressed the U.S. governors attending the National Governors Association winter meeting. President Biden called for less bitterness and more bipartisanship in American politics. Addressing the governors, Biden said politics has gotten too personally bitter and is not like it was when he was first elected to public office in 1972. He then made a toast to the possibilities of the country.
Folks, and I've been around, I know I don't look it, I've been around a long while. And I mean this sincerely. Politics has gotten too bitter. Democrats and Republicans. Politics has gotten too personally, it just is. It's just not like it was. And by the way, I served in times when we had very, very staunch differences. I mean, there were incredible differences. But we always, not always, but the vast majority of the time, we looked out for a compromise when the end of the day came.
The US and UK have launched missile strikes against more than a dozen Houthi targets in Yemen in response to the increase in attacks by terrorist organizations on cargo ships. A joint statement from countries said the military action was organized against 18 Houthi sites across 8 locations in Yemen, including underground weapons and missile storage facilities, air defense systems, radars, and a helicopter. The strikes have so far failed to halt the Houthis' attacks, which has upset global trade and raised shipping rates. The counteroffensive came after Iran-backed military group carried on an airstrike on a US-flagged, owned and operated oil tanker in the Gulf of Aden. The Yemen-based Houthis claim that they targeted a United States fuel tanker in the Gulf of Aden with an unspecified number of naval missiles. The spokesperson of the group stated that the US vessel Tom Thor was attacked on Saturday, making no mention of the damage done to the ship or the crew. The Houthis say they have been attacking shipping lanes in solidarity with the Palestinians in the Gaza conflict.
Of the Yemeni armed forces, with the help of God Almighty, carried out a military operation in which they targeted the American oil ship Tom Thor in the Gulf of Aden with a number of naval missiles, while the Air Force targeted a number of American warships in the Red Sea with a number of drones.
Israeli leaders are planning to convene to hear of possible progress in mediated negotiations on a new Gaza truce to recover hostages held by Hamas, but Palestinians suggested that they saw little change in polarized positions. Israeli delegates met on Friday in Paris with Qatari, Egyptian and US mediators who helped put together the lone ceasefire so far in November, under which scores of Hamas captives went free in return for a Palestinian prisoner release. Hamas holds 130 hostages from its cross-border rampage on October 7th, which sparked the conflict. Israel has publicly barked at such a large-scale prisoner release and says that any halt to fighting would be temporary as it intends to dismantle Hamas.
Es un Black Hawk. Ha dicho Simon que es un Black Hawk.
Meanwhile, Israel's military chief has said that combat effort is the most effective action during negotiations for the release of hostages held by Hamas in Gaza.
We are also in days of negotiating for the release of the hostages. I can't say what it will lead to. There are those who are dealing with it. We are dealing with combat. I want you to know one thing, there is a connection between these things. Your achievements, every battalion you dismantle, every underground infrastructure, every area where you destroy infrastructure, and the civilians that move to safe spaces, all these things together press us. I really hope to an achievement regarding releasing the hostages as well. We intend to do a lot to implement it, and the combat effort is the most effective action that helps those who deal and give in various places on the release of the hostages. It's the leverage we are applying on Hamas, and you are applying it excellently. We need to continue and apply it strongly. I hope we will know how to use it to release the hostages.
Western leaders arrived in Kyiv on Saturday in a show of solidarity as the country marked the second anniversary of Russia-Ukraine war. The Prime Ministers of Canada and Italy signed security deals with Ukraine, which has recently suffered setbacks on the eastern front lines. While out on the streets, hundreds of people gathered at Kyiv's St. Sophia Square to demand the release of Ukrainian soldiers in Russian captivity. Megumi Lim has more from Kyiv.
The Prime Ministers of Italy, Canada and Belgium, along with European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen, arrived in Kyiv on Saturday in a show of support for Ukraine as the country enters its third year of full-scale war with Russia. The leaders visited the Hostomel airport, which was the site of intense battles at the start of the invasion as Russian forces tried to capture Kyiv. Von der Leyen said Europe will be providing more aid, more ammunition, more air defense systems and more training for Ukraine's troops. Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni signed a 10-year bilateral security agreement with Zelensky, along with Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, who signed a similar deal pledging $2.2 billion in financial and military assistance for this year. Out on the streets, hundreds of people gathered to demand the release of Ukrainian soldiers in Russian captivity. Many of these soldiers were captured in the southern city of Mariupol when it fell to Russian forces during the early weeks of the invasion. Even as countries pledge more support, Ukraine has in recent weeks suffered setbacks on the battlefield. Russia's capture of the devastated eastern city of Avdiivka last week has emboldened Moscow's troops to intensify their attacks all along the 1,000-kilometer-long front line. As Kyiv waits for crucial military aid from the United States, its troops are running out of ammunition, and people in frontline towns are now fearing further Russian advances. Megumi Lim in Kyiv reporting for DD India.
We're heading for a short break. You're watching DD India News Hour, but after the break, farmers' protests continue, calling for better income and less bureaucracy, even as French President Emmanuel Macron participates at the annual Paris Farm Show. In South Africa, political parties gear up for a tough fight as the stage is all set for 3 months of hot campaigning. Stay tuned for a sneak peek into the winners at the Berlin Film Festival as the festival comes to a glittering close.
Disrupted or too much technology, even if it is green? And how does all of this impact human lives?
When we moved into regenerative agriculture, so as Namti for the last 20 plus years, we've been doing chemical-free organic agriculture as such.
India's first all-women waste management team as waste collectors, supervisors, drivers and managers. Together, they handle the refuse of an entire Chennai neighborhood.
Jute is actually such a crop that it can fix the atmospheric carbon dioxide, and within 120 days it can absorb 15 tons of carbon dioxide per hectare.
Everything we produce here stays in our community. We don't want to sell our energy to the big companies. We want affordable, climate-friendly electricity for all our citizens.
In a world that never
Welcome back after the break. You're watching DD India News Hour. Let's get you more international updates. Hundreds of people gathered in St. Petersburg in Russia on Saturday for an exhibition showcasing the country's military power. The two-day event, dubbed Russians Change the World, opened on Russia's Army Day on Friday. Tanks, ammunition and other military hardware were put on display. The festival coincided with the 2-year anniversary of the Russia-Ukraine conflict. The body of the Russian opposition leader Alexei Navalny, who died unexpectedly in prison 9 days ago, was handed over to his mother on Saturday in the Arctic city of Salykhard. Navalny's mother, Lyudmila, earlier said that Russian investigators were refusing to release his body from a morgue in Salykhard until she agreed to lay him to rest without a public funeral. While Navalny's team mentioned his death because of natural causes, as per his death certificate, leaders of the group of 7 countries, 7 major democracies, in fact, in a statement urged Russia to fully clarify the circumstances around Navalny's death and to free all unjustly detained prisoners. French President Emmanuel Macron spent the entire day at the annual agricultural fair on Saturday as angry farmers heckled him and scuffled with police. A group of French farmers stormed into the fair ahead of a planned visit by President Macron amid anger over costs, red tape and green regulations. The protest delayed the opening of the show to the public by at least an hour. The Paris Farm Show, a major event in France, attracting around 600,000 visitors over the 9 days, is a political fixture where presidents and their opponents are expected to engage with the public. Farmers have been protesting across Europe, calling for better income and less bureaucracy, and denouncing unfair competition from cheap imported goods. South Africa's President Cyril Ramaphosa highlighted the achievements of the African National Congress as it heads into a tight race in May's election. Ramaphosa delivered the party's manifesto to thousands of ANC supporters in Durban on Saturday. The rally came as South Africa faces increasing poverty, unemployment and crime, and a crippling electricity crisis. Also, the ANC's biggest rivals are the Democratic Alliance, which is trying to build a coalition of smaller parties to cut into ANC's majority, and the leftist Economic Freedom Fighters Party. South Africa will hold national and provincial elections on May 29th. There are more than 300 parties registered with the Electoral Commission, and the stage is all set for 3 months of hot campaigning. Leaders of the regional bloc, ECOWAS, have agreed to lift economic sanctions imposed on Niger following a coup that toppled Mohamed Bazoum's government. But they are calling for military-led government to release the deposed leader. Now, these were part of the resolutions reached at an extraordinary summit of ECOWAS heads of state in Nigeria's capital, Abuja. Our correspondent Ajak Mangut reports from there.
The notice of withdrawal from ECOWAS by Mali, Burkina Faso and Niger were top on the agenda. ECOWAS says the decision to lift some of the sanctions it imposed on Niger, which takes immediate effect, follows humanitarian considerations. These include the reopening of land borders to allow trade, unfreezing of assets, and allowing flights to and from the country.
Closure of land and air borders between ECOWAS countries and Niger to be lifted. No-fly zone of all commercial flights to and from Niger is to be lifted. Suspension of all commercial and financial transactions between ECOWAS member states and Niger is to be lifted.
However, targeted political sanctions on Niger, Mali and Burkina Faso still remain in place.
On the withdrawal of the three countries, the authority takes note of the notifications by the three member states within the context of Article 91 of the 1993 ECOWAS Revised Treaty, and further urges the countries to reconsider the decision in view of the benefits that the ECOWAS member states and their citizens enjoy in the community.
ECOWAS has called on the three countries, which all recently experienced coups, to reconsider their decision to leave the organization. It says their withdrawal could have a huge impact on the immigration status of their citizens, disrupt projects and programs in the region worth $500 million, and affect jobs of more than 100 ECOWAS staff from these countries. ECOWAS has also called on the military leaders of Mali, Burkina Faso and Niger to come up with an acceptable transition timetable. Meanwhile, the political crisis in Senegal following the postponement of elections was also discussed at Saturday's summit. West African leaders called on all key players in Senegal to give priority to dialogue for free, fair and credible elections. Senegal's President Macky Sall says he will step down at the end of his tenure in April, but it's not yet clear if a new president could be elected before then. He's expected to hold talks with political leaders in the coming days. Ajak Mangut in Abuja, reporting for DD India.
Taiwan's chip maker TSMC formally opened its first Japanese plant on Saturday. TSMC's decision plays a critical role in Tokyo's push to revive advanced semiconductor manufacturing. and hardened its industrial supply chains against disruptions amid growing tensions with neighboring China. Japan has said that it will give TSMC up to 4.86 billion more, 4.86 billion dollars more in subsidies to help it build a second chip fabrication plant. TSMC is also expanding in the US and Germany and plans to ramp up to mass production in Japan before the end of the year.
Thank you to all who participated in the ribbon cut.
Australia's Prime Minister Anthony Albanese pledged on Sunday to provide whatever support was needed to assist Victoria State in days-long wildfire emergency that has razed homes after authorities warned extreme heat could fan the blaze this week. The emergency has killed livestock, destroyed 6 homes and forced more than 2,000 people to leave western towns and head to the city of Ballarat in the west of the state capital. Australia is in the grip of an El Nino weather pattern, which is typically associated with extreme phenomena such as wildfire, cyclones and droughts. More than 15 bushfires were burning in Victoria on Sunday, with the most serious blaze ranked at second highest danger rating near several remote towns, according to the state's emergency authority. Around 1,000 firefighters, supported by more than 50 aircraft, have battled the fires since they started. The last 2 bushfire seasons in Australia have been subdued as compared with the 2019 to 2020 Black Summer, when bushfires destroyed an area the size of Turkey, killing 33 people and an estimated 3 billion animals. Historical drama Oppenheimer yet again won the top honor, this time at the Screen Actors Guild Awards on Saturday. Helmed by Christopher Nolan, Oppenheimer took the trophy for the best movie cast at the honors handed out by the members of the SAG-AFTRA Actors Union. Irish actor Cillian Murphy, who played scientist J. Robert Oppenheimer, was named Best Movie Actor, and his co-star Robert Downey Jr. landed the Best Supporting Actor prize. Oppenheimer also dominated the recently held BAFTA Awards 2024. Star of Martin Scorsese's historical drama Killers of the Flower Moon, Lily Gladstone won the Best Actress trophy, and Darwin Joy Randolph won the Supporting Actress for her role in The Holdovers.
Jodie Foster.
Getting you more from the awards as the ceremony began. Hollywood stars walked down the red carpet in glamorous looks. Streamed live on Netflix for the first time, the ceremony celebrated outstanding performances in both film and television. The ceremony took place after the Screen Actors Guild and American Federation of Television and Radio Artists staged a 4-month strike against Hollywood studios last year to fight for higher pay and protections around artificial intelligence. The award winners were selected by members of the SAG-AFTRA Actors Union, whose film choices are closely watched as the actors form the largest group of voters for next month's Academy Awards. SAG-AFTRA also handed out a Lifetime Achievement Honor to American award-winning actor, producer, director, singer and writer Barbra Streisand. Let's take a look at other stories making it to the headlines from across the world now. Former U.S. President Donald Trump met Argentina's President Javier Milei on Saturday at the annual Conservative Political Action Conference in Maryland. Trump greeted Milei with a "Make Argentina Great Again" chant. A day earlier, the Argentine president met U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken in the Casa Rosada government house as well. Private U.S. company Stratolaunch conducted its second captive carrier test flight of a possible reusable hypersonic vehicle. The Talon 8 test flight comes as Pentagon presses ahead with development of new hypersonic weapons. The U.S., along with global players, are speeding up work on hypersonic weapons. Now, these weapons aim to rob adversaries of reaction time and can evade traditional defense mechanisms. To mark British romantic poet Lord Byron's 200th death anniversary, Trinity College, Cambridge held a 24-hour reading event of his works. The event kicked off on Friday and saw students, staff and alumni including Succession and the Crown actor Pip Torrens, participate.
Nor indeed am I, that it is erroneous.
The Berlin Film Festival came to a close on Friday as the jury awarded top honors to its catalogue of films. Dahomey, French-Senegalese director Matty Diop's documentary film won the Golden Bear Prize for the best film. Sebastian Stan won the Silver Bear for the best leading actor in his role in A Different Man, while Emily Watson picked up the best supporting actor trophy for Small Things Like These. The Silver Bear Grand Jury Prize was awarded to Hong San-soo of The Traveler's Needs. Nelson Carlos de los Santos Eres was awarded the best director. Barcelona is all set to host the much-awaited Mobile World Congress 2024 that will take place from February 26 to 29th. The annual event attracts around 100,000 people, including mobile phone manufacturers, device manufacturers, technology providers, and content owners. A short break ahead on DD India News Hour, but after that, a momentous day for people in Gujarat. Prime Minister Modi will be inaugurating projects to transform and boost connectivity and better healthcare and education facilities. Meetings continue to be held to finalize the nuances of holding of simultaneous elections at the centre and state level in India. And not just the red rose, but 829 varieties of the flower won hearts at the 52nd edition of the annual Rose Festival in Chandigarh.
In a world that never stops, where information shapes our reality, one app stands out, helps you stay ahead of time. Introducing the DD India app, your gateway to a world of news right at your fingertips. Your most trusted source of news goes global, goes digital. Explore a world of options, top stories, live updates, in-depth analysis, and more. Stay informed wherever you are. Real-time alerts keep you ahead of the curve always. The DD India app, connecting you to the world one story at a time. Download now and explore the world of knowledge, insights, and authentic information.
Welcome back after the break. You're watching DD India News Hour and I'm Preeti. A quick relook of the top stories once again. Donald Trump defeats Nikki Haley in South Carolina's Republican contest, extending this winning streak as he marches towards a third consecutive presidential nomination. US and British forces carry out fresh strikes against Houthi targets in Yemen. Houthis target US ship in Gulf of Aden. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi to share his thoughts with the people of the country and abroad in Mann Ki Baat program at 11 a.m. today. It will be the 110th episode of the monthly radio program. England eye lead in the Ranchi test against India. Spinner Bashir's 4 for 83 gives Three Lions a golden opportunity to take control of the fourth test match. Let's get you more from Prime Minister's power-packed Gujarat visit. Prime Minister Narendra Modi is in Gujarat and he visited Dwarka temple. Prime Minister offered his prayers at the temple. In Dwarka, Prime Minister Narendra Modi dedicated to the nation Sudarshan Setu connecting Okha mainland and Bet Dwarka Island, built at a cost of around 980 crore rupees. It is the longest cable-stayed bridge in the country and it stretches to around 2.32 kilometers. Sudarshan Setu will ease the transportation and significantly reduce the time of devotees travelling between Dwarka and Bet Dwarka. Before the bridge's construction, pilgrims had to rely on boat transport to reach Bet Dwarka. This iconic bridge will also serve as a major tourist attraction of Devbhoomi Dwarka. After this, Prime Minister also offered prayers at Dwarkadhish Temple in Gujarat.
चंदनम द्वारकाधीश को ध्यान चक्र गदे चपा अच्युताय नमः ओम जनार्दनाय नमः ओम हरये नमः ओम श्री कृष्णाय नमः मालत्यादिनि वै प्रभो मया दतानि पुष्पाणि पूजार्थं प्रतिगृह्यताम् स्वर भगवन् द्वारिकाधीशाय नमो नमः सौभाग्य आरोग्य संपदा शत्रुहानि परो मोक्ष जय द्वारकाधीश जय द्वारकाधीश जय नमः ब्रह्मवाय यज्ञमयो भवाय नमः का प्रसाद है आपके लिए माता जी का बड़ा हुआ है बड़ी कुलदेवी है भद्रकाली और
With an aim to inaugurate more projects, transforming and boosting connectivity and ensuring better healthcare and education in Dwarka and Rajkot, Prime Minister will dedicate pipeline project at Vadinar involving replacement of existing offshore lines, abandoning existing pipeline and manifold. Prime Minister will dedicate Rajkot Okha, Rajkot Jetalsar Somnath and Jetalsar Vansjalya rail electrification projects to the nation. Prime Minister will also lay the foundation stone of widening of Dhoraji Jamkhandorna Kalawar section of NH 9270, Regional Science Centre at Jamnagar, flue gas desulfurization system installation at Sikka Thermal Power Station, Jamnagar, among others. At the public function in Rajkot, Prime Minister will inaugurate and dedicate to the nation and also lay the foundation stone of multiple development projects worth more than 48,100 crore rupees, encompassing important sectors like health, road, rail, energy, petroleum and natural gas and tourism, among others. In a significant step towards strengthening tertiary healthcare in the country, Prime Minister will dedicate to the nation 5 All India Institutes of Medical Sciences at Rajkot in Gujarat, Bhatinda in Punjab, Raebareli in Uttar Pradesh, Kalyani in West Bengal and Mangalagiri in Andhra Pradesh. Prime Minister will also lay the foundation stone and dedicate to the nation more than 200 healthcare infrastructure projects worth more than 11,500 crore rupees across 23 states and union territories. Prime Minister will also inaugurate the National Institute of Naturopathy named Nisarg Gram at Pune. During the event, Prime Minister will also inaugurate and dedicate to the nation 21 projects of the Employees State Insurance Corporation worth around 2,280 crore rupees. In a step to boost production of renewable energy in the region, Prime Minister will lay foundation stone of various renewable energy projects, including 300 megawatt Bhuj 2 solar power project, grid-connected 600 megawatt solar PV power project, Khavra solar power project, 200 megawatt Dayapur 2 wind energy project, among others. Prime Minister will also lay the foundation stone of the new Mundra Panipat pipeline project worth over 9,000 crore rupees. Strengthening the road and rail infrastructure in the region, Prime Minister will dedicate doubling of Surendranagar Rajkot rail line and 4-laning of Bhavnagar Talaja package 1 of old NH 8E, Pipli Bhavnagar package 1 of NH 751. He will also lay the foundation stone of 6-laning with paved shoulder of Samayakhali to Santalpur section of NH 27, among others. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi will be sharing his thoughts with the people of the country and abroad through the program Mann Ki Baat at 11 a.m. Now, this will be the 110th episode of the monthly radio program by Prime Minister. The program will be broadcast on the entire network of Doordarshan. The annual income of the street vendors in India has increased by 23,000 crore rupees due to the launch of the flagship scheme PM Swanidhi, which is a small working capital loan scheme for street vendors. Recently, a study evaluated the impact of PM Street Vendors Atmanirbhar Nidhi, which is PM Swanidhi. The study revealed that the first tranche of 10,000 rupees led to an annual additional income of 23,460 rupees for each beneficiary street vendor. The study was commissioned by the Union Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs and was carried out between January and June last year by the Center of Analytic Finance of Indian School of Business. And up next, we get to some positive updates from the employment front. In India, the unemployment rate in urban areas has decreased to 6.5% in the third quarter, that is October to December last year, for persons aged 15 years and above. It was 7.2% the same period last year. In a statement by Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation, unemployment rate for females also came down from 9.6% last year to 8.6% in the third quarter this year. The labour force participation rate in urban areas has shown an increasing trend from 48.2% in the third quarter of 2022 to 49.9% in the third quarter last year. In the same period, the female labour force participation rate rose from 22.3% to 25%, reflecting the overall increasing trend in LFPR. As per the data, an increasing trend was noted in the worker population ratio in urban areas that increased from 44.7% in October-December 2022 to 46.6% in October to December 2023 for persons aged 15 years and above. Indian Embassy in New York expressed grief over the death of a 27-year-old Indian journalist, Fazil Khan, who died in a deadly fire incident in New York's Harlem on Friday. In a tweet, it was expressed saddened to learn about the death of 27-year-old Indian national Mr. Fazil Khan in an unfortunate incident in an apartment building in Harlem, New York. India will achieve the target of export of 50,000 crore rupees in the defence sector by 2028-29. India's Defence Minister Rajnath Singh on Saturday said that the annual defence production of India is expected to reach 3 trillion Indian rupees in the same period. The Indian government has made radical changes in defence sector for long-term gains to make India completely self-reliant and achieve the goal of Atmanirbhar Bharat. Indian Army Chief General Manoj Pandey shared the government's vision for Make in India and self-reliance in the defence sector. While addressing Defence Summit 2024 in New Delhi, he gave a brief insight and shared his thoughts on Indian Army's push to self-reliance as part of transformation in meeting its operational and functional requirements.
The nation today exports defence hardware and software to more than 85 countries, driven by more than 100 indigenous firms. Indian defence exports in the financial year 22-23, which stood at approximately 16,000 crores, marking almost a tenfold increase over the last 5 years.
Up next, we take a look at other stories making it to the headlines from India now. The high-level committee under chairmanship of former President of India, Ramnath Kovind, held a meeting with Law Minister Arjun Ram Meghwal. The committee is examining the issue relating to holding of simultaneous elections at the centre and state level in India. In a groundbreaking move, the Indian Railways is building an underground railway station in Tista Bazar, West Bengal. It aims to enhance connectivity between India's West Bengal and Sikkim. This initiative marks the introduction of railways in the state of Sikkim, with the project anticipated to be completed soon. The IMD has predicted that a fresh western disturbance is set to impact the western Himalayan region till February 25th, with isolated light rainfall and snowfall expected. The three-day Rose Festival in India's Chandigarh concludes on Sunday. The 52nd edition of the annual Rose Festival offered an array of events, competitions and stalls to enthrall the visitors. The festival showcases thousands of rose blooms of 829 varieties spread over 46 acres at Zakir Hussain Rose Garden in Sector 16, Chandigarh. A short break ahead, but after the break, Taiwan's chipmaker TSMC opens its first Japanese plant, giving a push to revive advanced semiconductor manufacturing in Japan. Next up, we tell you how the Indian Army is dominating the Khelo India Winter Games in Gulmarg. Fingers crossed as fans pray for Mohamed Saleh to be declared fit for Sunday's League Cup final against Chelsea.
What happens when the equilibrium is disrupted or too much technology, even if it is green? And how does all of this impact human lives?
When we moved into regenerative agriculture, so as Namti for the last 20 plus years, we've been doing chemical-free organic agriculture as such.
India's first all-women waste management team as waste collectors, supervisors, drivers and managers. Together, they handle the refuse of an entire Chennai neighborhood.
Jute is actually such a crop that it can fix the atmospheric carbon dioxide, and within 120 days it can absorb 15 tons of carbon dioxide per hectare.
Everything we produce here stays in our community. We don't want to sell our energy to the big companies. We want affordable, climate-friendly electricity for all our citizens.
Welcome back after the break. You're watching DD India News Hour, and let's get you updates from the world of sports now. We talk of cricket first. Day 3 of the 4th Test match between India and England unfolded with promises of enthralling cricket. As the sun casted its golden rays upon the field, India began the day on a determined note. Overnight batsmen Dhruv Jurel and Kuldeep Yadav took charge at the crease, showcasing resilience and skill against the English bowlers. Jurel stitched a good partnership with Kuldeep Yadav and rotated the strike at regular intervals. Finally, Anderson gave England breakthrough on day 3 by removing Kuldeep Yadav for 28. He played 131 balls. Now the likes of Shoaib Bashir and James Anderson eyeing quick wickets for England in order to bundle out India in the first session. DD India correspondent Narayan Singh joins us live. Narayan, good morning. Now we see that Team India did begin on a determined note, but at the same time, Kuldeep Yadav is out. How do you see the day pan out from here? Would it be right to say, or is it a little too early to say that we see the match slipping from our hands?
Good morning, Preeti. Yesterday, when we saw that the match is at the close of the play, there was a handsome lead of 134 for England in this test match. And on such a pitch, on such condition, definitely at that time we were thinking that England has a clear upper hand in this match. But today, the way Kuldeep Yadav and Dhruv Jurel started for India, they stitched a partnership of 76 runs for the 7th wicket for India and erased that lead of 134 and cut down it to below 100. So right now the match is, we can say, poised, and both the teams are in contest right now, and we are hoping that as the day will progress, the pitch will deteriorate more and there are a few cracks on the pitch, and if the ball, if we can say that, behaves more properly, and if it doesn't go well with the batters, definitely it could be difficult. But the kind of potential and with the kind of application they have shown here, we can say that right now both the teams are, we can say that, will try to extract more and more from this match considering the situation. We are hoping that as the day will progress, India will have the chance to back in this match.
All right, so we're still not losing hope, Narayan. But then, what do you make of the splendid spell of Shoaib Bashir yesterday?
Definitely, we can say that the kind of bowling he has done, if you take the whole scenario of this match, it's the effort of Shoaib Bashir. Because of that, the England has an upper hand in this match. If you take a look, others England bowler, when James Anderson removed Rohit Sharma for the 2 runs in the opening spell, after that India was in the match, but in the second session when the Bashir came and he removed the important Indian batsman, it was looking like that the match was slipping from India's hand. And if you talk about Bashir, he is very young, and the way he has played in this match, we can say that he has not played cricket at a very decent level. And if you talk about his career, at the first class cricket, all the few matches he has played, he has never taken more than 4 wickets at a decent level of cricket. But here the kind of composure and the kind of calmness he displays, he is head and shoulders above all the bowlers from the England campaign here. If you take a look, the way he bowled, it's not about just getting the ball in the, we can say, about the line and length. It's all about the putting the ball in the right areas. He did exactly that thing only. He just bowled, he pitched the ball in the right areas, and there were few cracks, and definitely those cracks also help them. And another factor that comes into play for Shoaib Bashir is the height. He's a 6.4 inches tall player, and whenever a bowler bowls from such a height, definitely it has an impact on the ball when it pitches on the pitch. Definitely the cracks, it pitches on the crack, whether they are horizontal or vertical, it must have an impact on the ball. So he got all the things in his favor, and because of that, we saw that England had an upper hand in this match. But right now, it is looking poised, and we are hoping that our tail-enders, the way they played, the way Kuldeep Yadav, the way Dhruv Jurel played, Dhruv Jurel also completed his half-century. So we are hoping that if India can cut down this lead to 50 runs or 40 odd runs, we are hoping that definitely it could be anybody's game right now.
All right, so both the teams still stand a chance of winning the match. Thank you so much, Narayan, for joining in. Let's see how the Sunday pans out for the fans and the teams as well. All right, with that, we end this edition of DD India News Hour here, but let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. You can connect with us on Facebook, X, and also Instagram. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Preeti Gaur signing off, and from all of us in Delhi, thanks for watching DD India News Hour.